party souls. I'm Howard Golden. I'm the vice president, which means I'm swinging the gavel here because Andy Andrews is right now in Bryce Canyon, enjoying himself for a well-earned vacation. In fact, I was thinking two people who are not here, at least in my opinion, two of the hardest working board members, Andy and Cheryl. So just welcome and thank you for being here. I think it's going to prove to be a very important night in terms of the kind of discussions we're going to have and keep moving our community forward. I love the line expression, Lua, go forward. Really, I think, in my experience, life is about go forward. That's what we're doing. So with that said, Alice, our secretary, before we roll for.
I haven't done this before, but we have a chance for you guys to get to know our names and faces better because we have handed out to each of you our organization chart, which Andy put together, and it shows you not only who's here, but what they're responsible for. And so you can we're never going to have name plaques up here, so this is your only chance to figure it out. And I will just call the roll, and I have my cheat sheet with me. Andy Andrews, president, is not here. Robert Golden,
Present.
Cheryl Kopp is absent. She is ill today. Alice Lindahl, that's me, and I'm here. Daryl Singleton.
Present.
Valerie Bandman. Present. And wait for this, I've been practicing. Patty Hatsis Tavarakis.
Yes, present.
How was that?
Very well done.
Oh, wow.
Very well done. Thank you.
My husband says, you'll never get it right, you'll never get it right. Kept quizzing me.
So, thank you. Thank you, Alice. First on our agenda is Mike Halkey, who will speak in a moment. I sort of speak about comments that we will, questions from the community here. We will have time, as you see on the agenda, for comments. There's a whole band there. Comments and questions that you came with, and everything is welcome. And I believe I just think things are becoming smoother and smoother as we move forward. And I just want that to continue. Mike has been gracious enough to come here to take your questions and your comments about the recent episode at PGV that woke us up last week. Saturday morning. Saturday morning. Really. But so I think the key thing is, is just to treat each other with respect, or to treat each other with a low heart. We all have duties to perform and functions to fulfill, and it's the question of the issues. All the issues should be brought up. I'm not saying you restrict anything that bringing up. I'm just talking about the manner of transmission. That they should be done with respect and deep listening to understand each other and where each other's coming from. And that's all the board asks for. Okay. So with that, Mike. And please speak loud. We don't have any microphones that are working.
Yeah.
And we need to talk over the cookies. We might have a deep voice, so it shouldn't be a problem. Go ahead. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Robert, and thank you, everyone. Thank you, board, for the opportunity to come in. The first thing I'd like to say to everyone is that we did a bad mistake. I mean, that noise on Saturday morning was unacceptable. It was noise that was generated by some folks that aren't in tune to what we try to maintain on location with regards to how we can impact our nearby residents. So first and foremost, I'll give his apologies, and I can promise that that same kind of noise will not occur again. And you'll know why as I get further into the explanation of what happened. But first and foremost, we sincerely apologize for that. So what had happened is, so we're working over one of our geothermal wells. We're performing maintenance, and it requires the use of our drill rig. Some of you may be able to see the tower that's there. So that's what's being used. So what had happened is there was a tool that we use to make and break connections of the drill pipe. In drilling terms, they refer to it as the Kelly spinner. So it's a chain that wraps around the pipe, and it can help with making a connection if you want to go down deeper, or it can help with breaking the connection, so when you're coming out and you put the pipes on the side. So it's used, its purpose for the Kelly spinner is only when you're making and breaking connections. And actually, we had to do that a night or two ago. I called Robert just to give him a heads up, because it was the same equipment that was used that generated the noise. The difference was when we were very noisy that early Saturday morning, we were using it on a continual basis, which is not what that is designed to be used for. And the person that was in charge at the time was not in tune, like I said, to us trying to be as good as we can as far as terms of noise. So that person was addressed by the drilling management. That's not going to happen again, so I assure you folks that. In addition to that, I did speak with Robert, and just to let you folks know, when I signed in, I left my cell number there. And please, if anything comes up, if you guys have questions, concerns, I'm the person that you can contact. We also have, has anyone received a notification about us doing some drilling work? No, none? Okay. I'll email you the write-up, because we are planning to drill a new well starting as early as next week. It should not be a whole lot different than what you folks have been experiencing, except the Saturday morning. It's not going to be that way. But it also has other contact numbers that you can call. One of them is a 24-hour, we refer to it as a response line. And typically what happens if there are concerns or questions that need immediate response, the service folks will contact someone from PGB and we'll get back to you. So that's essentially what happened. Again, we're deeply apologetic about that, and we're not going to do that again.
Mahalo.
Anyone have any questions, Mike?
Yes.
How long will the well drilling last?
So we're looking for the well drilling to start the middle of October and be completed by the middle of January. The duration is about November, December. It's 3 months, but it's not continuous drilling, because the drilling process consists of several different hole sizes and different depths. So we will drill for maybe a week initially, we'll stop, we'll have to change out the tools, maybe a week or so, maybe 2 weeks, get the new tools on, and then continue on deeper. So when we say drilling, it doesn't mean that the equipment will be continuous for the full 90 days or whatever the period is, the 3 months. It'll be all intermittent.
Is it several wells or one well?
Right now it's one, but we have a permit to do a second well. That will be later on in 2020, whenever we decide to do that one. We still have several wells that we're trying to recover as a result of the eruption. So we're pretty close. This one that was part of the noise that was generated is the first production well that we hope to be complete with sometime this month. We already have been able to recover several of the re-injection wells, but we need production. So once we get this one, then we'll decide, we're going to drill the new one, and then we'll decide about recovery of the other ones that still are in closed state, or if we do drill the second new one. And we'll come back. We'll be happy to come back on monthly meetings. In fact, we'll do that. I mean, we can commit to that already.
Thank you.
so we can keep you guys updated.
Thank you, appreciate that. I have a question. When do you expect to be online with Halco?
Okay, so our goal is to be operational before the end of this year. In order to accomplish that, we need the production geothermal well, we've got the injection. We've been overhauling a bunch of our equipment, and we have equipment that's ready. We need the production, so we hope to be able to be operational by year end, but it'll be at a lower output level, and there's still transmission lines and a substation that needs to be rebuilt before we can actually try to go closer to the contract level, which is 38 megawatts.
And one last, do you have any time plan about how long the entire work period will take to repair the facility to get it to where you were before the lava? Do you have any sense of how long that will be?
Yeah, I think with the experience we've got so far, we'll probably drill. We're going to drill the first new well later this month, another new well in 2020, and the remainder will be just recovery. So it'll be, in my estimation, probably throughout 2020, but sporadic here and there, not continuous.
So I have 2 questions. So you're looking for heat, and you're next to the eastern zone. So first of all, how deep are you drilling? That's a great question. How deep are you drilling? And certainly, I'm sure you don't want to get hot magma. And the second question is, are you using fracking as part of your operation?
Yeah, good questions. So the beginning question, we drill the existing wells, we have 11. We have 6 that are production wells that bring up the heat, and we have 5 that take the cooler fluids back. Those range between 4 and 8,000 feet.
Wow.
Yeah. And we're about 700 feet above sea level, so they're all definitely down well below the sea level. So we know roughly where the fractures are to find the production, and that's what we're doing right now. We're recovering it. But we use conventional drilling. In other words, to be successful in a conventional geothermal facility, the 3 key elements is heat. And the heat here is generated from the lava that's under these rifts. We need water, and the water, of course, is the ocean water that percolates down deep, and the rain that percolates down to the ground. And the third is permeability. So in our case, permeability is just a natural geology that's down here that allows the heated water to move, right? So we do not do fracking. We look for natural fractures. Yes.
I was wondering, have things changed regarding the heat and the areas from pre-eruption to now what you have with the lava going through that area? I mean, right underneath you guys.
Right. So, yes, it has changed. And with the survey we've performed so far, we have found that the temperatures have increased by our temperature surveys in the order of anywhere between 10 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, so it has improved from prior to the eruption, but if you compare it to the original startup, which was early 1990s, it's still lower than what it was back then.
Thank you.
Are the lights the typical operating procedures that you need on a constant basis, or are you going to turn them off at some point?
Our lights.
The lights that are on 20 all night long.
So most of the lights that are on, in fact, all of the lights are just for the safety of the personnel that's on site. So the only lights I can see that will not be used in the future are the lights that are on the rig and the equipment. But there are other smaller lights that are situated throughout the facility, and that's for when operators and mechanics go from pad to pad and equipment to equipment.
Because with our new geography now, we have a straight line of vision towards those bright lights.
That's correct. It's line of sight. And so what we've done too is what we've tried to do. First of all, we use the low sodium lights, which is the yellow lights. And second is we put reflectors where we can, and we position the light such that it's not pointing in a direction directly to residents. We try to, if you guys see any that's pointing to you, you can call me and talk to our great folks and see what we can do with that.
Thank you. It's a rather spectacular site, but it's going to be permanent.
For the plant, yes.
Now, speaking of lighting, low pressure soda, and it's awful light. You can't tell the difference between oil, water, and blood. They're all the same in that light. Are you using full cutoff fixtures or just low pressure soda?
So some are cut off and some are maybe this size, but the company has lighting ordinance that we have to comply with.
Yeah.
A major part of the regulation by the county is trying to minimize the lighting pollution to affect astronomy.
Right. Yeah.
Affecting our ability to see stars as well.
So,
I said it's affecting our ability to see stars as well.
Anybody else? I just want to thank you on behalf of the board for coming there. I'm speaking just myself now. You modeled to be a good neighbor, and that you make yourself open. And that we go, he said to me, we can call him 24/7. So it's like,
yeah, he texted me Saturday morning, but I didn't see it until I woke up. And I said, Robert, my texts don't ring or anything, so yeah, I said, call me anytime.
right. So just thank you very much. I
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And you guys can contact me anytime you get through, Robert.
Okay, great.
Thank you so
Continuing, we're going to hear reports from these are reports from board subcommittees. Andy and his infinite wisdom has created this wonderful structure where we get together and two or three people to deal with the various functions of the board, and we'll just have brief reports on the progress that we're making. And I'll just lead that off. I'm going to talk first about governance, particularly in terms of the bylaws, and then at the end of the meeting, I'm going to use that time to talk about community development and run us through an exercise altogether in terms of how to enhance the development, the community spirit here in Leilani. But in terms of governance, they're governed by the bylaws, CCNRs. I believe Alice will speak, no, Valerie's going to speak about CCNRs. The bylaws, at this point, the only major change that we would want to propose for the bylaws, and Andy spoke to that last time, is the election of the board of directors, so it's staggered. We discussed that last time, that it doesn't build strength in this organization to be electing all the members of the board at one time. Even the U.S. Senate are staggered, so that the whole Senate goes and comes, And so we will stagger that, and we'll hopefully by the November, if not the December meeting, have a proposal about what that staggering will look like. So in the future, that's how the board will work. And I think all of the homeowner organizations here, the mainland and the like, work on a staggered basis. So that's the only major change that we see with the bylaws. We're also working on definitions of what it means to be in good standing. The ambiguity of what exactly means to be in good standing in terms of the right to run for office, the right to vote, could be clearer, so there's ambiguity about that. So that will also be presented as we move forward. That's about governance. Cheryl is not here, so you'll have to wait till next month to get a treasurer's report and the work that Cheryl is doing. Alice will talk about communications and records.
And I'm sure Cheryl would have pointed out, if she had been here, that we're no longer handing out the treasurer's report database. It's put on about 5 or 6 days before the meeting. It's put on the LCA website. So this is actually very good because it means you can not only see what this month looked like, and you can see the changes over time. And I thought, oh good, this probably goes way back. So I looked it up right before this meeting. It only goes back to the first time Cheryl put them on there. And so we can't look at any old cobwebs or anything we might be looking for, but I think I might take a look myself in the files and maybe try to summarize how things have gone. But that's really up to Cheryl. And I'm going to tell you about what I do, which is probably the most straightforward of any of the board members, and that just has to do with making sure the agenda is up in time for you guys to know what we're going to be talking about every month. And we try to get that out a week ahead of time, and we talk about it well before a week ahead of time. And all of the board members chime in on what they think is the most pressing problem that needs to be on the agenda. And I interact with them, and then we come up with the list. So that's how it ends up that way every week. And you can, we don't any longer post this entire thing on the social media, but we post a link to it on the LCA website, because we're trying to get people used to using the LCA website to answer their questions, rather than, asking on social media and getting 10 answers. That's not so. And Robert puts it on his Google Mail. MailChimp.
Right.
Okay.
So everyone got
And
a
you
copy.
can sign up for that, and so you can get these kind of messages from them. That's what they want to. I also prepare the minutes from my notes, and then those notes, and you notice we don't hand them out at this meeting. What we do is we approve the notes right after I take them and hand them out, and I always get suggestions, always, about things that, the emphasis is not quite right, or I don't think this number is quite right. So it's been scrutinized by all 7 of us, and then we try to post that within a few days, maybe up to a week after the meeting. And that goes on the website in addition. But if you're a history buff, these minutes go back to 2015. You can go snoop on the previous boards and see what they were talking about. I hope we've solved some of the problems that they brought up. Also, if you want, I suggest you look through the LCA website. There's a lot of really useful stuff in there. Every single handout that we've ever handed out like this at each meeting is in there with the date on it. But also the bylaws and CCNRs and treasurer's reports, what else, are on there. And then the last thing that you can use that LCA system for is to actually ask questions of the board. And as secretary, I am the person who's going to pick up your question when you email it to LCA. And I might be handing it off to one of these guys. I might be saying, no one's ever been able to solve that problem. Do you have any ideas? But you will not get nothing. Everybody gets an answer when they email. And the address is LCA, those are all caps, at hawaii.rr.com. And also, if you want to just call me, I stuck a pile of my cards up here, you could take one, but we really prefer that you email LCA, because that way everybody knows, what kind of questions are being asked. And I feel really strongly about this, and it's really the whole reason I'm on the board, because I didn't like it when they ignored my question. And also, with respect to records, whenever there is a new policy, a change in wording, anything, it's my job to make sure it properly gets into the database and is properly filed and is on the website so you can read it. So I think that's all my jobs.
Daryl.
Okay, so in terms of the infrastructure and maintenance, I think the big ticket item is, we have a few of them, but the biggest is the pavilion, which we had a structural engineer do an assessment of, and that report has been distributed. So what I've done is we have another bid that the board needs to consider in terms of doing construction documents. I've assembled the RFQs for a number of the projects that we want to get done, and I'm looking for bids. I'll be getting at least 3 bids for each of the items that we don't undertake as volunteer projects amongst us. And one of the things that we want to do, I've photographed and cataloged all the signs around here. One of the things that we want to do, although it may not seem important, it's a little bit beyond me, and that is, we want to bring sort of a color or ambiance to Leilani Estates. I mean, a lot of this looks like, old USGS, Forest Service buildings or something like that. And we just think that because of the effect of the lava on the community, that this is an opportunity to kind of spruce things up a bit. And so we've had some artists provide some suggestions for our entrance sign, because we think that that's pretty outdated. And then all of the new signs that we're going to get redone, we wanted to have a little jazz, nice font, nice color coordinated design, so that all the signs are branded and they have Leilani logo on it. So all those projects are moving forward.
Thank you. Validation?
Yes. Since I'm still getting up to speed on this, I just kind of being brief about, we met together, Daryl and Alice, and talked about a little bit what we thought would be important on the CCNRs, and we wanted to definitely address the concerns that people have with interpreting the CCNRs and come up with a better understanding of it, as we are too. we continually try to figure it out, and so we figured that the committee, the CCNR committee will meet regularly, and that we want to have more interaction with the owners and the complaints that they have, and then we want to be able to have direct connection, so they can, whoever has questions, any of the owners have questions, can contact us, and then we can resolve it and have more of a personal process with the CCNRs and people's questions and complaints, and that's kind of the direction that we want to go with that. Just to try and calm things down a little. and that's my brief on the CCNRs.
Thank you.
Sure.
Daryl and I worked on it for a few weeks before Valerie came on board, but we have a lot of new owners, amazingly enough, in Leilani. They're required to pay $200 to the association to join the association and get on our database. And we were quite surprised. There's been 20, since the beginning of the year, 20 purchases, about half of them houses and about half of them lots. And so we'll follow up with all of those guys to make sure, to find out who's going to be building and that sort of thing. But there are also a lot of old CCNR violations that we think can be maybe managed better by a little bit friendlier letters that they get. Just give it a try, see if it works. Because some of the letters are kind of curt and actually it's kind of hard to follow a little bit. So the three of us are rewriting all of them.
Thank you. And Patty?
On tourism, not a lot to report here because, as Valerie just said, I'm still getting up to speed as well. But the big thing is we still need volunteers for the committee. We've had some people request that they volunteer, and for one reason or another, they're not quite appropriate. So we're still on the look for both the gate and the tourism committees. So if you know anyone that might want to join, has a little inkling, wanting to get involved, just send them my way, and we'll see if we can get something together. But I think the thing that I see most is that the tourism has changed since school went back. it seems a little bit quieter, but there's still some issues going on. And so the big thing I think we need to understand is what is exactly happening, where, when, who's doing it, etc. So we're going to be kind of going down that path to really see what the issues are so that we can tackle them. And having a committee would be perfect to help us with all of that.
Thank you very much. Now it's your turn. We invite you to address us, address the community here, questions or comments you might have, things you want to see happen, things you don't like to see that is currently happening, and we'll take note of that. And so you speak in about 3 minutes, and Anne, you want to say something?
Yes. I'm curious about the committees for the gate and the tourism. What are the qualifications, or why have certain people been declined from the committee?
I believe 2 of them are deemed to have conflicts of interest. 2 of them had proximity issues and were not set up to be doing video conferencing and things like that. And then I was the other person. So now that I'm on the board, I can't be on the committee as well. So that's kind of where we are at this point.
Did you have anybody? No.
Yes. Didn't you sign up?
I signed up.
Yeah.
Do I have a
The tourist
conflict of
committee.
interest? That I don't know about.
I don't know, to be honest, so let's talk to her.
Cheryl asked me to mention that she was planning on doing a lot of the tourism information, since she's been gathering all these volunteers well before Patty joined us, and she said you'll just have to wait till next week because she was really too sick to talk to us today.
No problem.
Thank you.
So we'll go more next week.
Rod Kendall, please define conflict of interest.
People that wanted to be involved have let's take a look. I think the thing with the tourism committee especially is that it has to be as unbiased as it can be across the board, across the members. And if there are members who are engaging in tourism, that might we might look at that as saying there is a conflict of interest there because they're definitely moving in one direction versus another. So I'm not saying that the committee or myself or anyone on the board is moving in a direction or another, but we need to keep that playing field as open as possible.
I would venture to say that if you put a line down here and you say a conflict of interest with people who are for tourism, I would have an equal conflict of interest if I was dead set against tourism.
And I would agree with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next person, would you like to speak?
I had a few questions just about everybody's presentation, just to make sure that I understood. And Alice, we were talking about writing in questions. So I got down the email address. And so that's the email address to use for all questions.
It's the general one that goes to the office. And if you put, I should have said this, attention BOD. Because otherwise, well, Kim will think Board of Directors.
Oh, BOD.
Or attention my name. Because Kim, uses that to talk to providers and clean up people and bills and stuff like that.
Okay, and then is it also possible, though, to address a question to specific board members?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And then, let's see. And would you review again the procedure for someone to request to be on the agenda?
Oh, I forgot to mention that, didn't I? If 3 minutes is not enough, you should contact me a week before and request to be on the agenda. And you can do that either by calling. If you don't have email, you can call the office. I've got the number here.
965-9555.
965 thank you.
555.
9555. explain why you need the more time, and explain how your presentation addresses something having to do just with Leilani. So if it's about some other subdivision or a problem you're having with your neighbor or something like that, that wouldn't be appropriate. But if it is of interest to everybody, it would be appropriate. And we welcome it. It'd be nice to have that kind of input. And you can have up to 6 minutes on that.
And you could have attention agenda as part of the subject line, and then
Yeah.
all the agenda questions, not that
Yeah.
they're flooding in,
Yeah.
but.
No, they're not. I get about 4 a month,
Uh-huh.
and I'm sort of hoping for more because we solved several problems pretty easily that way. So, I should mention too that the reason we moved the questions from you guys to later on in the program is so that some of the questions you might have had would be answered by what we brought
That's
up.
much better.
But also, we might be mentioning things that will bring up questions. So we thought it just worked better, and we thought we would try today.
So I do have two more quick questions. Daryl, what is the process for recruiting artists for the signs and stuff?
That's a great question. Right now, it's been voluntary. So there's a couple of things that would be I probably should start advertising, soliciting suggestions. And if there's anyone in the community who has suggestions for art, for colors, for fonts, anything that has a little bit of jazz, and you have like that creative background and creative spark, we would appreciate your input because we're going to take all of that into consideration into making our choices.
And so we should contact you would be.
Yeah, just our emails are on the.
So if you look at the cards, you can reach us individually by our first initial and last name at LeilaniEstates.org.
Well, in my case, it's my middle initial. So it's
Okay,
DF, same
but
thing.
the cards should specify.
Okay. Yeah. And if you just tell Kim, for Daryl or something like that, or Patty or Don or whatever, she'll get it to us.
There was an email address that was given out before, BOD
At Leilani Estates.
That
Is that still good?
That will get everybody.
Okay.
Oh, okay. And then one last question for Val about this. I love the idea of the meetings to the public regarding the CCRs, and just wondering how you would publicize that on the website or.
Right now, we're just meeting as the committee, and then we're coming up with ideas of how we can address and get more input on that. Do you have any?
Well, in the past, the people just got letters, one after another, and we're going to try setting up a meeting time. Please come down and talk to us about it. That's what we meant by meeting the person who has violation,
Right.
and the committee or one person on the committee will talk it over with them. And then you got a better one. I think 1-to-1 might result in better compliance. You got to be a person to talk to instead of this in-person or letter.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Mick Calvert, Capono. Daryl, are we offering to pay the artists, or are we giving them the opportunity to become famous by giving us their art?
We can take that up as a suggestion for the board to consider. I think that would be reasonable because it's going to whatever we come up with as a sign on the main entrance will be the Leilani logo, and we just think what we have is dated.
It is.
And it's time for an upgrade. And so if the folks who have provided suggestions, they would be paid. So yes.
Mark O'Neill, couple questions. First one is on CCNRs. Will there be any enforcement as this progresses on, or are you doing enforcements right now? And my second question is, Patty, are you aware about Carl Kuneva doing tourism in here?
I'm not.
Well, he is. he actually bought a property on Cooper Street, and he's working with, what's his name? Kenji. Kenji owns that house just next to,
Most things for
Penny.
yeah.
yeah, so you might want to take a look into that.
Okay, thank you.
With the CCNRs, it's an ongoing. You know, we have, people are sending things in and then we're addressing it.
But the goal is, as I say, the goal is to
Goal is to
enforce.
enforce them and
enforce
work
the
with,
CCNRs.
work with the homeowners.
And, right.
Okay.
We have,
How soon will there be worked on with the property owner?
When
immediately.
yeah, when things are brought to our attention.
Because this is
Are you
going
talking
on
about?
kind of long already, yeah? The way people are living,
Oh, yes.
you know.
Yeah.
And
Well,
the longer
you
you
know-
let it go, you know,
It's anarchy down there.
Right.
you know what I mean?
On Capone
There is
Street.
a backlog, and we're trying to catch up with the
Right.
backlog, and that's one reason we don't have one person on the CCNRs, we have three. Because the job looked really big, like what you said. There were outstanding ones, and there's a lot of new activity that we need to catch up with. And we think, we're always looking for ways to increase compliance. And we've actually got homeowners associations that spend a lot of time doing stuff like that. We're going to try some of their techniques to get better cooperation. But it's absolutely the case that if we don't get on it, people will think more and more, oh, I don't really have to pay any attention to that. So, you know, we're well aware of that. And we really appreciate your observations about what's going on that we might not know about. That's really good.
Again, I'm speaking for myself. I mean, we're never going to discuss specific names here in terms of people who are going to be in violation of CCNRs. But I'll just say, perhaps every month we do report that we had X number of meetings with people to deal with, you know, a range of issues. So just keep it updated. And we also wanted to present a crime report in terms of kind of break-ins that take place in Leilani. And that should happen at our next meeting also.
Yeah, I had a little thing to say about that under new.
Okay.
These blanks are you know, new ideas that we'd like to bring up.
I didn't get any handouts. Oh, no, okay, go ahead.
Anyone else have a comment? Rod?
Yeah, Rod Kendall. Rumor on the street is, and it's just rumor, the board is pre-selecting a member to replace a member of the board that is highly anti-tourism. So I think it's just a rumor, but you can't pre-select. If you have an opening coming up, you need to open it to the entire committee.
Right. So I believe our behavior has proven that's a lie. That it has been open, and we've had conversations with people come here for interviews, and we selected people. You know. And so that's all I need to say about that. Thank you.
Maybe along the same line of what Ann or whoever said before, I've signed up for committees, never heard back. I've applied to the board. I apparently have some kind of stamp on my head or something. And I think with any of these committees, the more the better, because then you get both sides. And I think the people that are already doing tourism have a wealth of knowledge for input, whether you're pro or against. I think if someone signs up and is willing to be on any of those committees, it's all voluntary.
You can't have too much
You
information.
can't have too much. And anyway, I've signed up.
Marion, did you not get something back from Cheryl? Cheryl has been responding to everybody who signs up. And she sends,
well, I guess I don't
she
qualify.
sends CCs to us saying, oh, you know, we got your thing, you know, you're on the list. And I know she sent one to you. If it's not getting through, I'm sorry, but.
Well,
I didn't see a response.
as well. Right.
So those of you who are,
needs to tell Cheryl again.
all right, so those of you who are somewhat frustrated by this process, if you come talk to me one-on-one, we'll deal with that. Okay? Anyone else has a comment? Sir, back there.
Yeah,
Identify yourself.
Caleb Admin. I was just wondering, what's the gate committee for? I'm going to ask you because I was on the committee before when it actually got voted on, you know, all this stuff about the gate, and so I'm like, well, what's the gate committee for? Because I thought actually the membership of the LCA actually voted on something about it.
Yeah.
So what's the gate committee for?
Sure, yeah, I think the situation is that even though a majority of people said that they did want the gate, there's the question of placement. And that's what we need to deal with. So from what I understand, Leilani Avenue, that would be the easiest point of contact, but it's not going to happen because it's a county road. And so we need to look at our private roads, and then that's where we start to get into some issues with people not wanting them because of access and emergency situations. So the committee just needs to come together to really flush out all of the ideas, come back to us and the community with an actual proposal, and then we'll have another vote.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
I'd like to address the traffic on Tacoma Street. And that it has gone up 3,470%.
Can you tell us your name?
My name's Joe Abbott. I've been living on Tacoma Street for 20 years.
Thank you.
And the traffic is out of control. It's dangerous to the point where it's becoming increasingly violent and dangerous to be on that street. Last week I had somebody try to run me over in my own driveway. My neighbors up the road have had people stop their vehicles when they've been trying to get children and animals up their driveway, and just going like this to ask people to please slow down has resulted in almost fisticuffs. It's become intolerable. People won't let their children play in their driveways anymore because the amount of people that are driving by per hour that are completely ignoring our 25 mile per hour speed limit. It's appalling. I've had the front of my house vandalized 3 times when I put up speed limit signs. And it's like these people are militant speeders. They don't appear to be residents. They don't appear to be tourists, because the residents and the tourists always have their windows rolled down. They're driving slow. The tourists are driving slow because they're looking. The residents and homeowners are driving slow because they live here. I don't know who these people are that are driving by. They're all in the same kind of newish vehicles with their tinted windows rolled up. And I have, just to see what their limits are, I have stood in the middle of the road to see what they would do. And if you don't get out of the way, they will run you right over. We need speed bumps badly. I've been requesting them for months, but with the turnover of the board, I don't even know if it's still. I'm ready to go out there. They're still on sale on the web right now. I will buy them tonight. I'll be here in a few days, and I'll install them myself. Damn it!
Just to be absolutely clear, you're talking about Tacoma South.
Yes.
Yeah. And I looked into speed bumps from Island Street, so you and I can talk about speed bumps. They're not. And there's a team of people willing to install them, and they can be ordered from Home Depot. It takes 6 weeks to get here, which is why I was on here. But I'd be glad to talk to you about it. Your street only has to request this of the board, and the board talks about it and gives you permission to do it. So it's not as complicated as, you know.
I think there needs to be a discussion with the people that live around Push Rate about the traffic and the problems that it's causing us on a daily basis and affecting our quality of life. I'm willing to throw in the towel now after all of this, just because of that one fact. The dangerous and reckless driving that's going on down there, and it's total anarchy, and nothing will make these people stop.
I've seen them doing that on Leilani Avenue. I've started to recognize particular cars that, and it happens on Island Street too.
They drive 50 miles an hour down Leilani and then 40 miles an hour up the corner. With utter disregard for anybody pedestrians or anybody in the road.
Yes, so Jeff and I have been back on Tacoma for about 4 weeks now, and I can, agree with this, that speed is way up. I can't tell who it is. It seems like everybody's driving fast to me.
I'm blind in one eye and I can hardly see up the other, so I can't working very well. So that's why I think that like license plate numbers or tell exactly if it's the same car or if it's a different car.
Yeah, I haven't really wanted that closely, but I just can tell that the speed is up and, people are going, zipping up and down that road.
Well, it's noisier for you too.
Yeah.
And the car driving at 20, 25 miles an hour.
Oh, you get the,
Speaking of Pocono, and forgive me if I missed this before because I was late, that street is getting really bust up.
oh, it's just terrible.
I mean, I drove down it today, I don't drive over there very often, and I was amazed, it was twice as bad as the last time I drove by.
It's in a horrible state.
Holes and crash and...
It's because of these, and it's because of these people that are speeding on the road.
Well, that's not the only reason, but yeah, I'm sure that exacerbates it.
They're complaining that the
What
cars
are
are
we
ruining
gonna do
their
about
cars.
it?
Right, so that's, I think, the top of our agenda, when Amy gets back, is to deal with the roads, we said we're gonna wait a year. It's time now, and Amy said last time that we just need to get HDO here, to basically survey the situation, saying that, it looks pretty good here, it's safe, to pay the road. And Robin's looking at the task force in terms of money, to get, money, to repay these roads. Because,
Something needs to be done to alleviate the traffic.
but that's a different issue.
Right. How do we initiate a conversation with them? Because it's reaching intolerable proportions.
Well, you've made a very big impression on us, and we will take that up. I don't see any reason why you come out, why we don't explore the speed bumps. The board will discuss it as well.
They were very nice to Miley Street last easily. You do have to get everybody on board, and there's a requirement about, you have to show that there's, for the state, or rather maybe the county, that you have so many,
I'm out there almost 24 hours a day.
but we have a camera that can count them. So, I don't think we really have to
Joe,
satisfy
if
them.
you would get, these are private roads, so we can do with them what we want to. So, building on what Alice said, Alice went down Miley Street, the entire, Miley Street from Leilani to Malama, and got virtually 100% signatures.
100%, right.
Signatures. So, you're very motivated. I would suggest you do the same for Pocono in terms of people who are actually living there. Will they support to have speed bumps? Because we don't want a situation of okaying speed bumps, and then people come here and say, we don't want speed bumps on the street. So would you do that for us, and then we'll take the next step?
And if you have people who are not in their houses now, but are hoping to move back or something like that, the board accepted an email from them as
They're not here.
but it's pretty easy to get, we can help you get everybody's email addresses.
I mean, there's less people than ever living on Plum Street.
That
And
makes
the
it
traffic, the number of cars going by, it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And,
Yeah, you have a worse situation when you're
and I can imagine it's like for the people living even further down who are stuck on their streets that don't go anywhere. Something needs to be done to control the number of cars, even if turning Pocono into a one-way street going in that direction. So they can be assholes going by once, but then they can't come back and do it again. And that we would be sharing the traffic with Moku and not putting it all on them or having it all on us. So it went one way, that way, so that they couldn't come back the same way that they went.
I lost you a little bit on that. Just repeat that again,
Oh, if the traffic on Plum Street was one way going towards, thank you, Malama, so they couldn't come back down to Plum Street, they'd be forced to go up Moku. That way,
2 one-way streets.
One way.
It would distribute the traffic.
Excellent.
It's a great idea.
That's a great idea. Thank you.
People on Moku won't like it, but yeah.
sharing the burden is what we do in the community, right? Well, I don't think it's fair that we have to suffer the brunt of all the increased traffic because of the eruption without having anyone engage.
So if it was one way, then people,
It's just a suggestion, if we had a gate there, the traffic would be alleviated like that.
And that's what the committee is for, to, brainstorm all of these things and try things out and not make you feel like you're the Lone Ranger trying to deal with the problem.
but I believe the speed bumps are probably the fastest and easiest approach. I mean, I would try that and see if that's effective, and then we need more stringent methods, and we go to the next level.
Actually, the traffic and the speed are two different issues.
What?
They're two different issues on the same road.
The number and the speed.
Yeah.
But there's also the extra traffic is beating up that what's been a repaired road, so that's been extra hard on that repair, I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah. And my understanding from Andy is that the park has been monitoring all of our roads where the cracks are, and they tell us that it's getting a little cooler and a little cooler and a little cooler, but it's not cool enough yet to repair, but they're getting close. So.
And does it slump as that happens?
What's that?
Does it slump as that happens?
Well, I haven't heard that it's slumping,
But it does.
but that would be a good thing to ask the person who comes next time they do the monitoring.
Just say, Mark knows a lot about roads.
Right. We count heavily on his advice for these things.
Mark and speak?
I submitted a proposal to the board last month because the only reason is the company I work for, we completed Highway 132 from the top to the bottom. It was 4 weeks, yeah. But I tell you, it's really hot down there, really hot. The hottest spot we came across was 700 to 800 degrees. And no kidding. There's 2 sections in the roadway that the road passes through. The temperature there was at least 100 to 300 degrees. Yeah.
Mark, I didn't catch which road you're talking about. I'm sorry.
132.
Oh, right. I think that's
Go,
the
go, go.
And then
highway.
I told Andy that being that our equipment were out here, and then by submitting a proposal, if the board could tell me yea or nay, you could just swing in here, and then you could walk the street and control the street. But he said they're not ready for it yet. Okay? And on your issue, I'll bring it up to the neighborhood watch. We can get neighborhood watch out there more often, kind of get in there, control the street, walk the street, and watch this traffic pass through there so that they slow down. Yeah.
If there's someone who could maybe rent or borrow one of those signs that say speed limit is blah and your speed is the speed of sound.
Signboard.
For the county.
The signboard.
Yeah. I looked into them, they're extremely expensive. They're like $2,700.
They had a woman standing on the side of the street holding a hair dryer, and they thought it was a reader, a meter reader. People would slow down.
Okay. Amen.
Just real quick, thinking about roads, I thought you were going to come punch a hole into the book for us. That was my question. I guess I'm not real clear on that. To me, that's one of the most important things is getting our people back into their homes. And I'm not real clear on that, if maybe that could be addressed.
So I actually
sometime.
spoke to Mike about that,
Okay.
and Mike said that he heard from the county that they're working on opening via Bohiki, and that would be much easier and less expensive access than us going. We have no idea how much that will cost. But they are working on that. I mean, it's not going to happen tomorrow. Hopefully, it'll happen sometime next year. But the county is applying FEMA for funds to do that.
Wow.
If there's no more,
Just on what you said, yes, to be said about Pohiti, but I also heard from the government official there are no plans yet to do Leilani Avenue or Leilani across to Kahuka, because it's a county road, can't get federal funds.
well, at that point, that wouldn't be very, to go from the entrance there to Kahukai would not be very far to do that.
Correct.
Right. That we would have to manage.
Yes.
Okay, anybody else before we move on?
I just wanted to say a thing about the crime report. A small committee of us on the secret committee has been invited by John Risky and our CPO to meet with them once a week, and they will tell us exactly what's been going on in terms of arrests and things that have been happening that they have in their notes. And so we can then report that kind of detail both to Neighborhood Watch and to this group if people want it. And it's really, my sense, unfortunately, this month's meeting, or this week's meeting is tomorrow, and the guys have all been on vacation, so we all have 6 weeks to catch up on. And so at the Neighborhood Watch meeting at the end of this month and next time we'll be giving a crime report. And if people really like the crime reports, we can also post them. But if you call the police, they won't tell you because they don't have time to sit and talk to people about it. So they said, okay, if you will send a message on, we trust you to do it. So that's the plan.
Why not post the crime reports? I mean, it'd be great.
Well, when they do post them, all they're willing to put up there is, here's the streets where there was a break-in, and then it lists the streets. Well, that is not enough detail for us to know how bad things are. Did they take things? Did they damage things? We want more detail than that. And, so the crime reports, as they've been coming out lately at Neighborhood Watch, and we don't even have those every month, they've been so superficial, you can't really tell if there's a problem or not.
So what I'd like to do for the rest of the meeting is do an activity with you. And so in fact, Alice isn't know she's going to do this, she's online. So I have terrible handwriting. I'd like everyone to turn their chairs around and face that way.
You like to do cartoons?
On the board?
For this paper.
Oh, I see.
Is it movie night?
Andy's back here. Suggestion, if people have some paper, move a back, maybe you can make a circle here. I think we'll need more conversation.
Conversation inducing information.
So Andy has tasked me with this committee for community development. We really have a great mission. I mean, I'm not making something up there when I read this. It's actually, in part of our charter that the mission of LCA is to protect and promote civic betterment and social improvements for the common good. And so we represent here the common good. I'm not saying all the common good, but those of you who come here, the assumption is you come here because you want these things to be better. And for us to get a clearer vision of what that means, this is a nice vision statement, general mission statement about where we want to go, but we need to put some flesh on the bones. So what I want to do is to lead you in a short visualization exercise that might help to percolate some ideas about how you see Leilani in the future. So when you feel comfortable, I just first of all, everyone can take a nice deep breath and relax, feel the low heart here in the room, and breath, and invite you just to put your feet on the floor, and you even have to close your eyes. It's going to put you on a little short visualization. So imagine it's 5 years in the future. You make that left-hand turn down 130, and you drive through the entrance to Leilani Estates. Just Just really picture that, visualize that in your mind 5 years from now. What might that look like? And then you drive down Leilani Avenue. And you say, hey, I want to stop in at the community house, the meeting room, the pavilion. So you make a left turn, then you get to Moku, takes a couple of minutes, driving down, noticing what's not going on Leilani Avenue left and right. Then you make a left turn on Moku. Drive down to the community house, make a right turn. What do you see there 5 years from now? So just keep this now, just quiet. Just keep this to yourself. What would you want to see there in 5 years? Or like you want to make that left-hand turn onto Moku. Turn in to the greenhouse. What might be going on there? What particular activities are drawing your attention? Who might you see there? What's getting you excited about living here in Leilani? What does the community house look like? What do the grounds look like? What has changed in the 5 years? And you feel a sense of pride. Wow, this is my community. This is where I live. I'm really proud to live here. This is my home. And what makes it feel like your home 5 years from now? Then you spend some time in the community house, see some friends, and then you drive home, thinking about that experience you just had. And then the phone rings. You get home, the phone rings. It's a really dear friend who doesn't live here. And you haven't spoken to this friend for a while. And you're just so excited about the changes that have taken this new community since the law reform. And what do you tell your friend about what has happened in those 5 years? What are you sharing with your friend? Have that conversation. Hang up the phone. Slowly open your eyes and come back to the room. It's time to share your vision about what Leilani might look like in 5 years. Who'd like to start? Alice, yes.
Can I start?
Yes.
I'd like to see more stuff with the kids. Because with children, to have more activities for children that are regular and to hear their voices, and to make people see that Leilani is a place not just for, retirees, but for everyone. And I think it would be really good for people here to talk about this.
The ground rules for doing this session is called brainstorming.
Do you want this up here?
Yes, brainstorming is, we're just shooting up ideas, we're not saying anything negative, this is all positive. Whatever you think is positive, share it. That's what we do in brainstorming.
I love that they keep putting new stuff for the kids out there, because people bring their grandkids and their teachers. But more of that kind of thing, and maybe organized.
Okay, I'm Marianne and then Ann.
Well, one of the things when I come into this room, it should be welcoming, and I always thought on that wall there was a whole pile of papers. There should be in the center of it some welcome. Welcome to Leilani. This is your board. These are people you can talk about. I've brought it up before, kind of the welcome wagon thing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
You
know,
Oh,
welcoming,
Right,
inviting.
oh, like these 20 new people who bought property here, they
The
could,
20
they
people
should
that
see
just-
a welcome package.
Should be come in here and go, oh, this
Right.
is like a
Or maybe
contract
if
on
I
my
get
street or
a
whatever.
visit, you know, 2 or 3 people go visit them.
Yeah.
Hi.
Bring back the
Yeah.
welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Then you have a party or something like that.
I got some, yeah.
Yeah, I know the party.
Make some
Very
cuttings.
good. And
I'd love to see more artists sharing their work in the community, having one-day workshops. I do indigo. I'd love to do an indigo workshop where everyone comes and does dyeing and have fun and stuff like that. I'd like to see more community events. I love the movie night. You know, I would love to be able to have, you know, more lectures. People come and talk about plants or talk about, you know, things in our community. What is Pono? Things like that. More events where we bring a one-day thing to our community.
thank you.
This room could use some more artwork, couldn't it?
Some colors.
Boring.
The white is boring.
Okay, more art activities, but also I heard maybe speakers
Yeah.
on topics of interest or something like that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Right.
I have 2 items. I'd like to see a garden club and utilize some of this grass area for productivity for the community. The second item is I'd like to see a dog park for big and small dogs, so they can bring their animals and let them free run. And I don't have dogs, so it's, but I've been in communities where they have them and it's big. Yeah.
So Ron, you think a garden club, but also more gardens, more
Yeah.
flower gardens on the.
Flower garden that grows some fruit trees.
We could do another great garden.
Yes, always.
Next person.
I see a world-class embracing of what's happened to our neighborhood. A world-class inviting people to I don't want to call it tourism, but education. I'd love to see the kids come and have an art gallery down there, or wherever. But I really think it's important that we have something that it showcases the elephant in the middle of the room, but addressing in a way that's respectful to everybody, but we have an opportunity. The world is knocking at our door and they're driving through it every
Right,
day.
some kind of educational.
We need to come together as a community and as the people that are interested in what's happening in our community. And I think even now, when people drive in, they go to the end of the road and they're looking at something they have no context. Even if we just put a map of before and after
Right.
and laminated it and put it into a big piece of wood down there so people can understand what they're seeing.
So how would you articulate that in a few words?
I'm not good at that.
No, I got it. So you really want like educational signage.
Yes.
I mean, when I used to go down to the YPO tidal pools, they had all those pictures of fish and you got an education about those tidal pools.
Right, I mean, the people are going to come and they're coming, but they're really not getting anything. Oh, I came and I saw that.
Yeah, right, without getting information. I get that.
Great.
An educational
Yeah,
setting.
educational.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people in the community would be able to share themselves and their experiences, or share their art, or whatever it is. People love to hear you talk about that. I don't know. I picture kids like at Christmas time in a horse-drawn carriage, being taken around. Sure, the fireworks went off in the back.
It's true, people want to hear, human experience. They want to know about how people are.
You could even have like little video vignettes.
Yes.
They're recorded and people, come watch them. So they make it real. My house used to be, so it makes it real for them.
Well, at Kaimu, they used to have something like that, in California got And it was kind of nice. It was very homemade, but they had all kinds of before and after pictures, and those were really enlightening.
Where was that?
At Cairo,
Uh-huh.
you know, where Uncle Robert's is now. I don't think it's still there. Do you guys remember that? There were all
I do.
kinds of on the
Yeah,
scene
the
pictures
pictures.
when things were happening, yeah. But they also had little stories about the people. They didn't have videos or anything. I think people would really, really like that.
So, the person who blurted out swimming pool.
Oh, that was me too.
Because I put that there.
Okay, don't forget
Robert and I have been in swimming pools and everything.
We were supposed to get one almost 2 decades ago, right?
Oh, yeah, dog park.
Well,
Thank you. Roger, forgot your
Big
remarks.
and small dog park. I thought that was interesting.
How about the dog-free part?
any other visualizations you're getting? Any other pictures, messages that you were getting in this visualization that you want to see?
Well, yeah, so someone's already spoken about having more activities here, I think, and I think that would be fantastic, just to be a bustling center of energy and activity and fun. I mean, it's just
Fun,
wonderful.
thank you.
Yeah, it's wonderful when I come here at night. I do the dance aerobics on Wednesday, and there's kids out here, and there's families. They actually come out here and have picnics and stuff. Some folks are coming over here playing basketball, some team sports and things like that. I love the garden idea, garden club. So yeah, just some kind of activity. So we all go to our own homes and it's all wonderful and everything, but it's so wonderful to come out to your community and connect with everybody.
So I have one idea to get on there. I don't want any comments. I think to have a cafe, where people can come and have, a cup of coffee, tea, and people can socialize. Sort of have a little mini tea shack.
Would the community be the ones cooking for it? Like,
Well, how we're going to do this and blah, 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 will work out. But at least we have a place to come here, to sit down, have a cup of coffee with somebody. I'll meet you, I'll meet you at the park.
Yeah. I like that.
Well, we could put up more picnic tables in the gardens.
People, and so you decide to go to pick up your stuff and your iPad or whatever and go down here for a couple hours now.
Turn on the Wi-Fi.
Well, you've seen what's been happening with the food trucks up there at the corner. Heading down the thing, people love to gather together.
And Pancho's from Leilani. They're right up here. They live here. Pancho's Mexican. He's a Leilani. They're Leilani.
It's food, yeah.
I like to see a swap meet here.
Can I
I like to see a swap meet here.
Yeah.
We can use the money to generate community.
Yes, that's a great idea.
Yeah, like the farmers market.
Yeah.
shopping.
Oh, that would be great.
Other thoughts? Here's your chance, folks.
I love that farmer's market here. That would be so cool.
Really? Getting public transportation back here.
Why?
Providing it.
I'm very disappointed in the county's taking care of Leilani Avenue. Michael does an excellent job on our streets. It would be great if the county
Okay,
would
so we're only
contract
positive now. What do you want to see? Not don't say.
I want to see the county contracted us and pay us to take care of that road the way we want it.
Okay. So beautify Leilani Avenue.
Yes. So when you were asking to visualize, what came to my mind is, there's that iconic view, and I guess Hollywood, we were driving down that suburban boulevard, and there's all the palms. I mean, it's so beautiful that they do shoot movies there. It's just iconic. We need to have something iconic like that
Right.
down the line.
Thank you.
We have something like
So I think
Beautify Leilani.
So, make an iconic setting.
Yeah, give some care to the landscaping when you drive in here.
Right.
Okay, speaking of landscaping, and this is a little different from what we were talking about, but how about getting rid of the albizas in this place? I know that's a big project, but what do they do? People kill them, they're ugly, they fall on the lines, it's a problem,
All right. So
right?
eliminate albizas.
That's a great idea. All invasive species.
Well, speaking of that, also they're talking about on Maui, because the fire ant population is still within control of doing aerial drops of bait to mitigate that. would be great if we didn't have to worry about fire ants. You know, and took care of that.
All right, so fire ant free.
Yeah, fire ant free.
Okay.
We could advertise.
There's the
You know, they can drop it by
They're
drone.
really dropping big.
So I want to close this down. There's someone at the house. Someone sitting on something that you're just too embarrassed to say.
I'm embarrassed, but ripper free.
What?
Ripper free?
Ripper free, yeah.
That's a name we had to kill. Somehow a way to make it so people are
Eliminate
smart.
crime.
Just want to stay away, or they want to stay away from, people who want to steal from things.
Crime free.
Just
Crime free. Crime free.
Utopia.
I know
Crime
crime is not a
free.
negative word, but yeah. So I mean, it's not good aspect.
Crime free.
Yeah. Safe, yeah, belongings are safe all the
Safe.
time. Yeah, belongings, right. I know that's funny.
Well, you have to aim for it.
That's right, that's right, that's what it's gonna happen.
Anyone else?
I'd like to see the process for using the pavilion just a little bit more hospitable. You know, it's like pulling teeth. You know, I came in and talked to Kim before I was on the board and everything else and said, yeah, I'd like to do like community, you know, drum music and dance events. She goes, well, you'll have to talk to the board about that. Right? I mean, it was like no welcome, no energy, you know, nothing about it. So I'd like to see that process to book the pavilion a little bit more friendly, streamlined.
Okay.
Just like what pavilion available, more available for.
Nick?
I may eliminate myself from the, what I call the visitor management committee. I don't call it the tourism committee, it's the visitor management committee. And should change it to that because it's a much more friendly term. But what I've always wanted to see here, we had a world-class eruption here.
Yes.
World-class. All around the world, they saw this. People are interested in it. Following up on the educational center, we should have a visitor center,
Yes.
a visitor management center, you know, several of them. Here's the main one. Here are different places where people can go, they can read, they can meet people, they can hear about what happened here. They can watch a video of what happened here.
They have
You know,
a
make it
walkway, they can
educational.
go out and walk themselves and come back.
And by doing that, you will keep the people from driving around
Word
and
Yeah.
tearing the place up.
Yeah.
Or hiking
And
out there,
They
that's
can come here
crazy.
on our terms, and we can
Exactly.
say, okay, you can come.
And they can
We'll be
pay
open
to
on
get
Wednesdays,
in.
Saturdays, and Tuesdays or something.
Right. All right, so I just want to thank you for your participation tonight here. I just like to see the community gathering. And this is a process. It's not going to happen overnight. But the more people sort of step up and create activities like that, I'd like to see you create what you just said in terms of using the pavilion. We have a little writers guild that's going on now. The more people actively just say, have an idea and implement it, the more this is going to feel like home for us. Not instead of waiting for someone to make it home, you make your own home. So the more, this is the beginning for us. I'm not promising anything, but it empowers me to take the next steps. And I just want to thank the board. I spoke tonight went really well in terms of feedback and the back and forth. And we'll be patient and learn with each other.
I have a question.
Yes.
Why didn't swimming pool make the cut?
I want it just takes one person to get. I want a swimming pool.
I mean, as long as we're dreaming, right?
I mean, we had an incredible.
We don't have to dream, that can be a reality.
It was advertised for a swimming pool, Leilani with tennis courts, and a golf course. So we can have a pitch and putt course here.
Sidewalks.
But a golf course, I don't know. No.
And I think for kids, I
Kiddie
totally
pool.
agree.
Kiddie pool. You
Kiddie
have to
pool,
have a
right.
pool.
But if you had a pitch and putt course for kids, that would really draw.
And a hot tub for the adults after.
Never get it.
Let's just get the book on a big hot tub.
Sidewalks.
I would say.
What's the sidewalk?
At least one on the road, but I'm getting ready to be crosswalks, so we can
people
cross
with,
safely to get.
Oh, crosswalks or
Wheelchairs
sidewalks?
can,
Access.
What's that?
Did you say crosswalks or sidewalks?
Sidewalks.
Sidewalks.
Oh, so you're looking for, like, concrete sidewalks?
Well, we didn't need them before the traffic got to be such a problem. And now it's a matter of safety.
It would be good to have on the.
Yeah, you gotta give George a place to walk.
George. All right, look, thank you very, very much. And if everyone could just put their chair before the door, and then go into
Thank you.
Put the chair, just hold the chair up, and just pile it.
I just squeezed out about 3.